everyone. Hi, I am your host. It's Jessica Koch, and yes, it's time for another Profound Professionals. We have been for 7 years now bringing you industry experts from all over the world. We find individuals that help you improve your personal life, can grow your business, and also have their heart set on a cause. And most importantly, we thank you. We thank you for following and watching for 7 years. OMG, that makes you our hero, and for sharing this so it can touch other people's lives who need to hear this message. So, today, our guest is Jeff Cade. He is a healthy lifestyle specialist and has gotten a lot of certifications along the way in order to name himself this, which is important for you. He's also an author and a speaker, and later on the show, we'll talk about his book. But for now, just welcome, Jeff, and thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate you. How are you?
I am fantastic. It has been a great week. It's a glorious day. Kayaking is in my future, if not today, this weekend. So, I'm just excited that it's February and it's still warm. We get pockets of warm, although I'm kind of wishing for one more snow. We'll see. So,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, oh.
where are you physically located, Jeff?
So I'm in Chicago. I'm in Chicago. So we are having a awesome time right now because we're really going through the end of the winter. But now we are going to get 50, the highest 50, maybe 55 degrees today in February. That's unheard of in Chicago.
It's
So
60
I'm
here.
looking forward to that.
I'm gonna get on the kayak. It's 60 here, so I'm thrilled. I'm in Solomon's Island, Maryland, and we got one dusting of snow. We haven't gotten enough snow that the kids could really build a snowman or slide down a sled. And I usually like to see 1 to 3 of those every year, at minimum, a really good snow. I haven't given up hope. I don't think it's all the way over yet, but I love to be on the water, so I won't be too upset if we get to run with that. Now tell us, and that's about, like, we're talking about healthy lifestyle here, warm weather, getting back out, getting some activity, kayaking, doing all the things, enjoying and stretching your legs and putting your
Yeah.
face to the sunshine when you get that warm day in the unusual months. So tell us, how did you start this journey to be a certified health and wellness coach, a healthy lifestyle specialist? How did you land on this mark?
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Great question. So I started off in the hospitality industry, received my Bachelor of Science, hospitality management operations, and going in the corporate world, serving in food and dietary nutrition, sales and marketing, and finally got involved with the healthcare sector. And the healthcare sector, I was mostly involved in dietary and nutrition. And so I got a chance to really fine tune and be in that lane of health and wellness. Sometimes I would see patients' charts, and I would always wonder about the different type of diets that they're on, and from renal to water to low salt to heart to regular. And I'm wondering, wow, people are coming in this particular hospitals, and how do we really, I don't want to use the word prevent, but how do we reduce the type of consumption that they're doing to even be in here? There's people go in the hospitals obviously for different reasons, but I got a chance to really understand that. I wanted to really fine tune that and be more involved in that lane. And serving in corporate America, it allowed me to to build a bridge to understand more about food, dietary, nutrition, and things of that nature as it relates to what we consume. Food and beverage, and actually the type of things that are on our packaging and labeling. And then I jumped the ship, built my wings coming down off that cliff, and co-owned a healthy restaurant concept. And from that point, we focused on um, high fiber, high protein, and low carb foods and meals. And so no fried foods were served. And I got a chance to see a different type of population that really focused on, healthy living. And from that point, I really wanted to take a deeper dive and peel that onion layer just a little bit back more and understand more about how do we how do we live a healthier lifestyle. And so my tagline is always transform to perform, transform to perform, because it's also about the mind and body connection for all of us.
Mhm.
And going down that I guess that rabbit hole of understanding business from a brick and mortar standpoint, wearing multiple hats all the time. Oh my gosh, from marketing, payroll, deliveries, cleaning, we did it all. Um, and it was a great experience. It really was. And then finally, I decided to say, you know what? This is a little bit too much. Let me focus on something for me versus the entire population. Let me focus on controlling what I can control. And that was really understanding what's in my mind, what's in my heart. And I need to pen a book because I've seen a lot of things happen, not only in my family, but with friends, my circle of influence, network, and people are really dying of, cancer, high blood pressure, stroke, diabetes, all these things that are around us. How do we control that? How do we reduce inflammation and et cetera? And so that's kind of how I really got involved in this lane and became a certified health and wellness coach. Started speaking on different platforms and just trying to really get the message out to the audiences about, living a healthier lifestyle. We all know that an apple a day, right, keeps the doctor away. But what type of apples are you eating, for one? And are you eating enough of fruits and vegetables? What are you putting on your plate? What are you crowding out? What are you digesting? All that is important as it relates to longevity and peace of mind and movement. Movement is necessary. So thank you for that
Well,
question.
you would be really proud of me then. And so first, I'm going to do my uh, fun but serious non disclaimer here to say that I am the Italian mother of seven, and I always say I'm not your mama, I'm not your doctor, or your financial planner, or your lawyer. So we're not giving you medical, legal, or financial advice. We are sharing with you what's worked for us, knowledge over the years, experience. Always see your doctor before you do anything. And it is wonderful to be listening to and learning from someone with Jeff's background and certifications, but still always go seek medical and professional advice in anything you're doing. Just sharing with you our experiences and what's worked
Yeah.
for us. But for over the last 2 months now, I can celebrate 2 months. I have released 12 pounds that were not serving me. I started at the beginning of the year and I'm going to go through the year with this plan of no sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol, no processed foods whatsoever, nothing that comes in a package or pre-made. Everything is fresh vegetables, fresh food, and organic, by the way, too, and lean beef and lean meats, and also trying to stay very organic and grass fed. And the seafood that I'm doing, we're trying to do the open ocean kind of thing. All of those things you think about. And also moving every day. As I mentioned, I kayak, I work out, and I do something every single day. I'm standing at my standing desk. I'm not sitting anymore during the day. Also, I'm doing some intermittent fasting with that as well, to allow my body to heal itself and do all the beautiful things it was designed to do if I just allow it to, right? So I have specific eating windows. I typically fast daily between 16, 18, or yesterday I did 23 and a half hours before my next meal. And I'm taking lots of supplements and minerals and vitamins and things. And I'm getting guidance from doctors and professionals. And I have a health coach. And, so just doing it right and trying to take care of myself. But so right now I'm still in my fast, and so I drink hot boiling water. Nothing else is in it. It's just pure hot water boiled. So that kind of helps me with the feel of coffee or tea. And then when I'm open my eating window, I do add sometimes a wedge of lemon to it. But I'm not doing teas or coffees. And I'm an Italian, people. So if I can make it's just about making a decision. I've made a decision that I'm going to do this and go on this journey for a year. I'm going to reevaluate. Then I will allow a few fun things back in once a month or a twice a month kind of scenario, but keep this lifestyle moving forward for the most part, right? Once I've reached my goals. And some of it is releasing weight, being the leanest and strongest, and feeling more powerful and healthy and strong. But also for me personally, it's the work to lower my blood pressure so that I don't ever need to be on blood pressure medicine. Because if I kept the other choices and hadn't made this decision, I could most definitely been heading myself towards some sort of prescription. And I'm 51 and fabulous. I just turned 51 in January, and I don't want to be on prescription medicines. I listen to those commercials. I hear the side effects, and I'm thinking, oh, no, thank you. I think I'd rather just take, vitamin supplements and minerals and things like that, but no other medications other than that whatsoever. So that's kind of the goal for me. So I love that you've dedicated your life to do this with people. And normally I don't share all that personal stuff, but since this is your lane, I was like, I thought I'd celebrate.
Well, it's worth celebrating. That's a great plan you have. And you had a lot of touch points.
Mhm.
Especially it's very challenging, and I do it now, and it took me a while to get away from sugar. I love coffee. I mean, obviously I have some right here, but I'm not a connoisseur where I can do it black only. I put a little cream in there, but I don't do any sugar. I try and stay away from what you said, processed foods. Definitely, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, which is really deadly. Those nitrates and nitrates, these chemical compounds, they really serve they serve no purpose.
Mhm.
And it's awesome that, you can look at the packaging and the labeling and go in there and really, make a plan for yourself, because we all have to do it. And it's a process. Everything's a process. No one's going to, it's like electrical switch or turn a water lever and you turn off and on. It's a process. You have to give yourself time. And I say self-care is the new healthcare. Self-care is the new healthcare, because you got to take care of self, mind, body, and spirit to allow these things to happen. Everything is done in moderation. You know that. So
True.
it's very cool that you're taking this route and you're planning this, especially you're Italian. So yeah, I know that's the challenge with
Yes, it
all
is.
the things you do with the pastas and everything. So
Yeah, and I'm
that's
a
that's pretty
great
cool.
cook, and so is my husband. But the other thing I've added is, well, I've always done a lot of meditation and praying, but I've been learning. I interviewed recently 45-year breath expert, and he actually even worked with and coached and worked with Tony Robbins on his breath for health purposes and stuff. And so I'm trying to incorporate more focused, breath techniques and breathing. And I'm also really being mindful of anywhere from 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single day. And 7 is more infrequent than not. I try really for the 8 to 9 hours of really good sleep, and staying away from technology before I go to bed, and
Okay.
just different things like that to try to be the best version of me. I want to give myself, my family, and you should too. You watching, you should want to be able to be the best version of yourself for you first, and for me as a thank you for God for creating me, and for my children and my clients, and how I can give to the world as a whole while I'm on this planet cannot be done if I don't stay the healthiest version of me I can be, so that I can then give after that. So I love what you're doing. So someone knows, okay, I'm not there. I don't have that plan. I am not the best version of me that I'd like to be yet. We're all on a journey to be that. I need Jeff. So when they come to you, what is their experience? Are they working in group coaching? Is it one-on-one? Is it an online course? Give us a description of, when someone steps into your world and says, all right, I'm here, I'm reaching out, I need to do something, I don't know what, Jeff, guide me. So what's their experience?
Great. Awesome. Awesome question. The first thing I like to do is really understand what type of health goals they may have. I use a health history form so we can really take a deeper dive into not just personal history, but family history.
Hmm.
That could also become an opportunity for self-discovery, right? And awareness.
Yeah.
And then it's really about understanding the one-on-one. I do have what is known as the Ultimate Health and Happiness Program,
Mhm.
this right here. But it's really about understanding. I believe truly that the three most important ingredients to the recipe of your soul is mindset, diet, and exercise.
Mhm.
And we start with the mind, right? The mind and body connection, what I said before. But
Mhm.
it's very important for these one-on-ones to understand that, hey, I'm here not just as a coach, I'm here as an accountability partner. I'm here to see you win. I'm not going to tell you anything that either I haven't done or I haven't been successful at. I'm
Mhm.
also a varsity tennis coach for boys and girls high school. And so sometimes I incorporate certain things and drills as it
Mhm.
relates to keeping your body moving. It's not
Mhm.
all about, weightlifting and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But we
Mhm.
have to understand cardio interval training. I mean, getting that heart rate up, getting that blood flow.
Mm,
You mentioned earlier about sleep. It's
mm,
very important that you have that so that there's no brain fog. So you can be the best
mm,
version of yourself. But, you know, really working one on one is something that I've been able to do and be accomplished and be able to really provide people's outcome on their, and because it's a journey, just like success. It's a journey, it's not a destination. We know data and statistics show that sometimes when we start something off in the beginning of the year, the resolutions, the goals, right?
mm,
You kind of fall off in that first quarter. Well, it happens.
mm,
You fall off the wagon, but you get back on and you just don't quit. You have to still
mm,
understand that you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for anybody else, you're doing it for you. So again, self-care is new healthcare. It's about a process. I talk about the mindset. I think it's very important that we have some type of meditation in the morning when you wake up, have an attitude of gratitude and being able to start your day not in a rush scenario, but
mm,
being able to just be mindful and be grateful. Hey, what am I going to accomplish today? Who am I going to serve? How can I add value and impact? And use that as energy because energy is everything. And
mm,
then before you retire at night, I like what you said, keep away from your device at least 30 minutes to an hour before you go
mm.
to bed. Stop the scrolling. You all stop the scrolling,
Yeah.
right? And because it ties into something, especially negative news,
Oh yeah.
right?
I
It's gonna, yeah,
completely ban that. I'm on a long-term fast of news because it is just too negative. It's very
it is. It is. And so all of that is important relates in relating to the mindset. I love to use I am affirmations, and
true.
you have to do it obviously with intention. I like to use different words of the alphabet, starting with, of course, A, I am able, I am amazing. And B, I am blessed. And C, I am a champion. D, I am dedicated. I am
Mhm.
deliberate. I mean, there's so many things that you could use, but you want to use it with intention and be aware of your surroundings, not just say them to say them.
Mm,
Right? You gotta plant the seed in our minds, just like we plant the seeds in our kids, and we nurture them. We water them. We nurture them to grow and flourish, to be good stewards in the world.
true. That's very true. Now, are your programs, 12 weeks, 6 weeks? Is it one-on-one group? How are you structuring that?
So with the one-on-one, I have two. I have two tiers. One is a 30 to 45 day, quick start, if you will.
Mhm,
The other one is really more deeper as it relates to an 8 week program. It is
mm,
virtually and physically based. Obviously, if you're in Chicago and in my state of Illinois, we're going to be together physically from time to time. But for
mm,
those who are virtual, like yourself and I,
mm,
that particular 8 week module. We're
mm,
going to go through. We're going to go through modules. You're going to get an ebook of mine and a virtual workbook and
mm.
a Facebook group, personal, and just really accountability calls virtually, of course. And we're going to go
Are
through a
those
lot of different
daily
things.
or weekly, or how do your accountability calls work?
Yeah, they are weekly. They are weekly, and I meet people where they are. Meaning, if it's a Monday, we all sometimes I always live a hectic life, with family
Mhm,
and things of that nature. But if we set things up on a Wednesday weekly and something occurs, okay, well, let's do it on a Thursday, let's do it on a Monday. So I'm
mhm,
open to obviously rescheduling.
mhm.
In fact, people can connect with me at jeffcade360.com, and in that particular site, there's an opportunity to schedule time, send me an email, send me a text, look
Mhm.
at my bio, the videos. All of that is like I guess, it's my communication hub so
Yeah.
that people can see what I'm doing in the world and how am I serving.
Mm.
But that's what's going on as it relates to the program. Most people usually kind of do an 8 week. There's nothing wrong with a quick start
Sure.
because it gets you going.
Yeah.
Some people may not know who I am, and that's fine. I'm here, of course, to be that accountability partner. If you want to start slow, I work with you on that. Yeah.
And I think that's huge. What about after the 8 weeks? Because so for like me, I know to reach all my goals, this is truly a 9 to 12 month journey. And then after that, it'll be a lifestyle still, but a maintenance lifestyle program. Like I'm on a really aggressive goal, but also a healthy one because I'm giving myself many months to achieve it. But once I reach that end goal, then it'll be a maintenance, because once just because you lift weights and I rediscover that there are ab muscles that are visible again, you still have to do crunches. Otherwise, it's like you can't just water a plant one time and expect it to grow forever, right? You got to keep going back and giving it the amount of water it needs to continue to thrive and live. So from the 8 weeks, do you have some sort of like ongoing touch-in or maintenance or program that helps
Yes,
that way?
yes. I'm glad you asked that. It's more of a recovery maintenance, and I just kind of do accountability calls, one-on-one coaching calls for that, because I know once people that whether they do the quick start or the 8 week, of course, there has to be recovery and maintenance and things like you just said. So I
Mhm.
go along, I still continue it with a week to week, checkup. It's kind of like, with some of our vehicles, we have to
Mhm.
have that oil change. Well, our body is a temple. It is a
Right.
machine. You have to make sure that we, maintain it. So yes.
Well, and that's good. And before we get to your big tip that'll help everyone, I want to make a couple of comments on some of the things you mentioned. So, you did also talk about accountability, and I have to tell you, if this is a space you're struggling in health overall, or just trying to be the best version of yourself physically and mentally healthy, get with Jeff, because about early last year, I started with a daily accountability person, and I have to tell you, in last year, I am certain because of that, I accomplished more than I would have in a 2 to 3 year period without that daily accountability. And with that accountability, every morning we talk at 6:30 a.m. every single day, and we text each other throughout the day, midday and evening. We have celebrations. It's our whole life, the whole piece of it, and we have a tracking tool. So tracking is also really important in your health journey and in your life journey. So we have a spreadsheet that covers our businesses, our spiritual. I have a spot for breathing. I have a spot for family fun. I have a spot for, my eating windows, my food tracking, my exercise tracking every day. All through the day, I keep that tab open. I open that spreadsheet and I type some sort of celebration in, or some sort of task I'm going to do, or something I completed, or something that's the top of my list. But what I would say to you, and of course, when I started this journey, I measured all the parts of me, and I took all the pictures, and all the things. Tracking is a huge piece of it. And weekly accountability is great. I'm a little bit of a obsessive fanatic when it comes to accountability. So for years, I've had a weekly accountability partner, and also
Mm,
a weekly book club that we focus on books that help our us become better humans. So some sort of self-help book. Right now we're doing Dean Gracioso's Millionaire Habits. So I have that weekly accountability partner I've had for years and years. I have the book club that we've been doing for years. Then I have another success partner in another business program I'm launching in my company, another mastermind huge that I do weekly. Then I have my daily accountability partner, and I have my health and fitness accountability partner and coach. So, what I have done for myself is I have wrapped myself in a community of protection, enveloped myself in this space where if I feel like I'm going to teeter or fall off the path, they all got me. They all have me. If I weren't to show up to any of those things every week, every day, someone would be saying, "Hey, what's up? What's going on? How can we support you? Get your act together. Oh, you feel sorry for yourself today? You could get 1 minute for that. All right, take a deep breath, and now let's go. Let's
sure.
go." So I have wrapped myself in that kind of care. And, he says self care is the new health care. I love that saying that. And hear what he's saying to you is wrap yourself in a way that you can't help but care for yourself, and with great people who are around you, great people like Jeff. You need Jeff in your life. So
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
so there you go. And I also would say, from the health standpoint, I learned this recently. I think it was from our breathing guy. I thought, I'm detoxing and doing all these things to detox. Well, I found out and learned very little of that detox comes from what we release as far as what we eliminate in our waste. A big percentage is sweat. And I didn't know that. And an even bigger percentage is breath. I mean, I forget his actual number. I wish I could remember it now, but, and breathing correctly. So, really fascinating stuff. And no matter what we're eating or doing, our environment as it's been, we definitely are exposed to so many more toxins than they
Oh
were
yeah.
in the 1950s, right? The comparison is mind-boggling when you do the stats for that. And I'm not an expert in any of these things, but for certain, we have to be tracking and thinking about all these things. So that's my comment on some of the
Oh
stuff.
my God, you hit it on the nose right there. I mean, from industrial toxins to the chemicals and toxins in our food, food and beverage. We
Mm-hmm.
really have to understand the importance of what's going on around us, especially in the grocery stores. You know, you have to look at those labels. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if there's some words on there, which they are, that are
Mm-hmm.
paragraph long or words that you don't understand, well, they're Googleable for one, but for two, it takes too long to read them. And if it's processed, you know what's going on. That's just unhealthy. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. It really is important that we focus on, you know, whether it's organic or just eating natural sources of food free of pesticides and toxins. So our
Mm-hmm.
body can perform the better. I said before, transform to perform. That's
Yeah.
important. That's important. I think sometimes, you know, we age, we take things for granted. We take things
Mm-hmm.
for granted. And it's great that you have this community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to be part of your community now. Just being able to, bump ideas off and be able to talk about certain things that are important to us. So we can have and make impact around us and our network. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned something. I'm gonna wait till you ask me about books because it's very important that I say
Yes.
something.
I will
As
get to that in a little bit.
yes,
But before
yes.
I do, you've already given us some beautiful tips and some just amazing information. I'm really enjoying this interview, and I hope you are watching our too. Don't be selfish. Hit the share button. Someone else needs to hear from Jeff. Thank you for your likes, your comments, and your shares. They mean a lot to us. Jeff, could you give us an additional, because you've already given us so many, a tip that could help someone improve their life today?
Wow. I'm gonna have to do a bundle, a
Okay, a
bundle,
tip
a
bundle.
bundle
I'm
tip.
not surprised.
Uh, you know, I just said this a few minutes ago about eating healthy. It's
Mhm,
very important that when you're eating your food, you have your protein, you know, your fruits and vegetables. But it's
mhm,
very important, more important, right, to crowd out the things that don't belong.
mhm,
We tend to sometimes overeat, and it's
mhm,
very important that we have portion control. And that portion control, eat more of the things that are healthier for you. It could be the grass-fed beef, it could be the wild-caught salmon, it
mhm,
could be the brown rice, the brown pastas, you
mhm,
know, the green leafy vegetables. I love my vegetables. And you know what? I will say this: I love the berry family.
mhm.
You
Me
know what
too.
the berry family is? The
That's
raspberries, the
mhm,
blueberries, the strawberries. The berries families are awesome. So
mhm,
you have to incorporate these things. And we all know that moderation is key, right? But you got to do these things because your body is listening. Your
mhm,
body's listening and it will respond. And it will respond as we get older. Listen to this. The more processed food you've eaten in the past
mhm,
and the fried foods you've eaten in the past, we can do with those things in our 20s and 30s. However, when you
mhm,
turn that corner and different decades start creeping up, the 40s and the 50s and the 60s,
mhm,
and I'm part of that group, you know, your
mhm,
body will respond. It will tell you some things. And it could possibly start with the letter I, inflammation.
mhm,
Inflammation is key. It can create some hazards in
mhm,
your life. So
mhm,
you have to be mindful of and just be cautious. Because once things start to inflame, if you don't execute and really take care of that and take action, like be laser focused on what you have to do for your body, self care, then it's going to affect you. And then, like we
mhm,
said earlier, you might be taking some prescription drugs, which may have side effects. You
mhm,
may, unfortunately, have to have some procedures done. You may
mhm,
have to have some surgeries completed. And then after surgeries, what do you have? You have possible opioids,
mhm,
you know, some medications that may not be right for you. So I believe in holistic,
mhm,
natural things as much as possible, as
mhm.
much as possible. So thank you. I mean, that was just a little bit, but it is important. You know, that mindset, diet connection. Nutrition is key. Is key.
It is, and there are some specific, very specific foods that can help with inflammation. And I'm I'm pulling from my knowledge here, and I could be off mark and right. If you can think of some foods that will help reduce inflammation, then put them in the comments, put them in the chat of this live. But I think one of them is mushrooms. I think mushrooms are known to help reduce that. And there's other things you can literally eat that will help with that. And the interesting thing was, so I'll share this with you too, because you'll like this. Last night I was at my daughter's at a Montessori school, and every year they do a chili cook-off. And my husband was very careful to find a recipe that's following, everything fresh, everything organic. He, pulled everything together and made this wonderful, wonderful chili. And of course, also at the chili cook-off was all kinds of a big bowl of Girl Scout cookies, just all mixed in, lots of bags of chips. There was pasta and rice, and then there was also like corn muffins of all kinds, and the prepackaged oatmeal cream pies that we won't mention the brand of, and just all kinds of stuff. And it was sort of a game and kind of a joke, and it made us both laugh. But I really liked the mantra where when I was around and exposed to that. So they had fresh salad that actually the children had grown, including radishes and kale and lettuce and spinach and things, because it's a Montessori school, so they grow their own foods. And so I had a big bowl of the salad, and I did taste a few of the chilies, and just the micro dottest of taste, and ate the one I knew I could eat in a moderate manner. And that was my only eating window. But the whole time when I was looking at the other things, and my husband's like dipping his chips in his chili and all that, and I was like, oh, that looks good, except for I don't eat processed foods anymore. And I just kept saying, oh, and I don't eat processed foods anymore, because that's not who I am. And so I've just kind of made this decision that I surveyed the table. Oh, I had two cubes of watermelon too, but I didn't eat anything processed. I don't eat processed foods anymore. So I think just having that mantra for myself in a setting that wasn't my own kitchen controlled what I was doing has been very, very helpful for me too. So
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. Yeah,
sure.
you gotta. It's like it's a mantra, also an affirmation.
And I was saying
And
it out loud into my husband. I was kind of like, I mean, we were laughing about it, but there was joy connected to it. And, just doing that, it's huge, right?
no, it is. It's again, it's that mind and body connection. You're telling yourself to do this, and you will respond, but it has to keep going. It has to keep going.
Mhm.
So, it's very important that you do that. I think mantras and affirmations really are key into anything. It's not necessarily about health and wellness. It's just in business, in relationships, in
Mhm.
joy,
It's true.
in your social life, home cooking. All these things can
Mhm.
really eliminate fear, anxiety, depression. All these things are around us, right? Especially with the dynamic world we live in, what's going on locally and globally in the
Sure.
marketplace, right? And what's going on politically. There's so many things happening that
Mhm.
our mind can be really drained with all these things going around us. But if you stay focused and in that lane, sometimes you got to have your blinders on. Just be focused and concern yourself with not just living a healthier lifestyle, but what's really important. I use an acronym for WIN, because we always want to win, right? WIN
Mhm.
stand for me. What's important now? What's
Mm.
important now?
I like that. That's
What's really important now? And you have to ask yourself at the moment, all these things that are going through our minds and our bodies, how are we going to respond to that?
Now,
What
did you make that
intentionality?
up yourself, or did you find that from someone else? What's important now?
I
Is that
actually, I actually made that up.
so?
I
I'm
made
gonna
that up.
use it in some of my talks going forward, and I'm gonna totally give credit to Jeff Cade. I just wanted to make sure I was giving credit to the right person as I
Yes.
did that. So that's brilliant. I love that.
I was
What's
just thinking about different acronyms one day. How could I use that?
Mhm.
Um, you know, Now I have used transform to perform. I've heard that somewhere, so that's not a
Mhm.
Jeff Cade, but a live and be well is a
Mhm.
Jeff Cade. That is me, and as well as win. What's important now, and we can take different letters of the alphabet, right, and just have fun with it. It's just about being kind of creative in your own space.
Well, this is a good segue, but before we segue into the cause that you care about, I'm going to share one of Jessica Koch's quotes, and it's because we have 7 kids and 7 grandkids, and it's now is later sooner, so do it now. Because I always had children who I'd be like, hey, did you do your homework? I'll do it later, mom. Hey, I gotta get, how about that room? Did you clean your room? I'll do that later. And my response was always, well, now is later sooner, so let's get on that right now, right now. So that has been a good one for my own personal life, for my children growing up, when they were going through those changes, as well as business. It's good in business. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it now.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
good for your health too. So I love that. All right. Now, when we started this show 7 years ago, from show number 1, we have featured a cause that our guests care about. And so Jeff is going to share with us a cause that's close to his heart. This is a great time for you watching to hit the share button, to type in the comments some of the causes that are close and near and dear to your heart. So Jeff, talk to us about the causes that you care about.
Wow. Well, it stems from so many years ago. I lost both of my parents to cancer. I lost my father to pancreatic cancer. I lost my mother 6 years later to breast cancer. So the American Cancer Society is really
Mhm.
dear to my heart in terms of the philanthropic work that they do, the things that they do, not just locally but globally. So I'm definitely a financial steward to that,
Mhm.
making donations and contributions when I can. There
Mhm.
was a time here in Chicago, they would do the Why Me breast cancer race or walk race.
Mhm.
Um, and my wife and I, we would be involved and engaged with it every year.
Mhm.
So one year we even had our little boy. I mean, he's 15 now, but he was in a stroller, and that's what we would be doing. And just sometimes it'd be raining, like, oh my God, because it's they use the month of October, of course,
Mhm.
and October in Chicago is interesting. It could be
Yeah.
snowing, you
Yeah.
know, and it's always cold. So you got to prepare yourself mentally. You already know that you're going to be cold, so you layer up, right?
Mhm.
That's a very important organization that I donate to. Another one is World Vision.
Mm.
World Vision is really philanthropic in how they really help the children of our world, locally and globally. Especially kids in Africa and other
Mhm.
countries that third world countries that need assistance, financial assistance and support. So those two are very um, key to me, very important that I make my time and donations to. And another one that's local here, Strengthening Our Community Alliance. That is a organization that I'm a member of, um, that really helps the community, the local community, from an educational standpoint and providing different things, whether it be hat, coat, and glove drive to coat drive, providing book drives to children. So, that's another important organization that I focus with here locally in Chicago.
Well, that's very beautiful. And I hope Jeff sharing with us today has inspired you to give time, treasure, or talent to a cause that's close to your heart and your community, and that you've hit the share button. And we might inspire a whole bunch of people together to just do something good, be kind, spend some time with someone, go to the local homeless shelter, just play cards with them, help them serve lunch, check out causes that you care about, or check into the ones Jeff mentioned and see what you can do to support them. So, thank you for that, Jeff. We just want to, as we share and talk, I think it's always important to take pause to discuss something big, much bigger and greater than you and I.
Thank
So.
you.
So, a book that not written by you, but inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business. Let's talk about some books that you might love.
The first one, um, I like to have it with me because even though I've completed it, I want to share with the audience. Is Deepak Chopra. It's called
Mm.
Total Meditation, and that deals with really mindfulness. I think we talked about
Mhm.
the mindset. That's how I incorporate it in my program because I believe everything begins and ends with the mind. And this is a powerful book. People can look up Deepak Chopra and the things that he's done, from philanthropic work
Mhm.
to what he does, of course, locally and globally, how he helps and on being a doctor. But it's a powerful book. I think as we rise, when we're blessed to rise in the morning, to have that again, the attitude of gratitude, and just give yourself some time before you start your day. Because we know that people multitask, like we do it, and is that a good thing? Are we really accomplishing the things we really want to accomplish? Because when you're singularly focused on one thing, you can probably accomplish more. But we live in a very fast-paced life, and so it's necessary. As you know, Mom, 7 kids, family. I mean, you have to multitask. You have to be that driver, you and your husband. But sometimes we have to take a step back and say, you know what? Um, Self-care, meditate,
Well, and I'll say on
be
that,
mindful.
yes, I'll say on that note, though, also outsource. So, my whole company, we have the virtual assistant membership program. We have 100 VAs globally that help our clients outsource, but don't just outsource tasks for your business. Outsource household chores, household can. So, delegate and outsource so that you can be focused on the one thing and the most important things in life, I'd say. Also, that is something I've always practiced is delegation and outsourcing and systems. We have systems and automation for as much as humanly possible in my personal lives and in my family life, as well as in my business, so that I can do all the things that my heart wants to do.
That's important. And then I'm reading now um, John Maxwell. He wrote this in 2017. It's called No Limits.
Mm,
Blow the cap off your capacity.
mm,
So that I'm just getting into that. I follow John Maxwell.
mm,
He's been a very integral part of my life as it relates to just what he's done.
mm,
Being a former pastor, his father was a former pastor,
mhm,
and he ties in or includes a lot of um, spirituality in
mhm.
his teachings. So that's very important as we raise the bar, as we
Yeah.
raise the capacity within us. So I'm actually just starting to read that. So yes,
Oh, fantastic. Now you're an author, so let's talk about your book.
thank you. So um, I'll say this: it wasn't a bucket list item for me.
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't something that I actually wanted to do. But I think I was told I was in a seminar one day, um, seminar of Raymond Aaron. He's out of Canada,
Hmm.
New York Times best-selling author, and he said we all have a message within us. We all have a story, and the world needs to hear it. And I mentioned earlier that I lost both of my parents to
Hmm.
cancer. My father to pancreatic cancer, and 6 years later, um, my mother to breast cancer. And
Sure.
so I really had to digest that for a very, very long time, and keeping things in me mentally, as
Mhm.
well as physically and spiritually, and emotionally. It was tough losing my parents in my younger 20s. I was an adult, but a new adult. Yes.
Mhm.
So not having that parental love or touch or guidance really affected me,
Mhm.
and thought I could do a lot by myself. Being that rock, even
Mhm.
though I have a rock upstairs, my spiritual creator. But I just thought that I could do a lot by myself. I truly still believe that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Mhm.
But I needed to put what's in here and in here in the heart,
Mhm.
and pin something and pin a book and help create something. So hence I wrote Battleground Cancer.
Oh.
I wrote the book Battleground Cancer. It's about managing your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being for the fight.
Mhm.
And it is a book that is a combination of of the personal loss and the personal journey of my parents, also living a healthier, vibrant, powered lifestyle.
Mhm.
That's another reason why I wanted to become a certified health and wellness coach, because I saw a lot of people in my network, even still today, and maybe even yours in the audience here, that cancer and obesity and diabetes and heart disease, all these things, these diseases in our community, alcoholism, right? stress, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they take us out. But specifically with cancer, um, I wanted to make sure people understood that I didn't know how many people were in my shoes, but I
Mm-hmm.
do know that all of us know somebody that has been affected by cancer, that knows someone that has made their transition, and
Mm-hmm.
they are no longer in the physical presence, but they're in spiritual essence. And
Yeah.
it's very important that you read this book because it's not about me. It's about the journey, and how I was able to, kind of watch, uh, not necessarily be that caregiver all the time, even though I felt like I was, but not really knowing how to do certain things, growing up without them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a journey. And in the contents is really about being able to prevent cancer. Because of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's no cure for the common cold, no cure for AIDS yet, no cure for cancer. It's coming. It's coming, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what we can do is eat natural sources of food and eat organic and things of that nature. And so I wanted to really pin the book because I wanted to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
how detrimental things are in terms of chemicals and toxins. It's an eye-opening experience, for you to read because it gives you clarity on some things that maybe you might not be aware of. And I talk about certain things with people about people who necessarily have cancer, and they could use certain things, to really, um, reduce or offset
Sure.
and possibly heal, with certain teas. We all know that
Mm-hmm.
teas, especially black tea, green tea, red tea, even white teas,
Mm-hmm.
really have a powerful benefit, the powerful antioxidants that they have, as well as astragalus, as well as sea moss.
Mm-hmm.
These things we definitely want to incorporate, because it builds your immune system. It
Mm-hmm.
builds your immune system. For those people that are dealing with, um, high blood pressure, some
Mm-hmm.
people probably know this because they've read it. I just want to include this that hibiscus tea is really good for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hibiscus tea. A lot of teas have these powerful chemical compounds, that are doing very good to our bodies in terms of what you said earlier. It's like a detox. It's like a cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, drinking alkaline water is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing. It helps clear the skin. It's therapeutic. There's so many things in water.
Mm-hmm.
Our body's what 60% made of water. I mean, it really helps. But I will say this has done, some good with uh, with those, who are trying to live a healthier lifestyle. A
Mm-hmm.
and B is it gives them some educational background on what to avoid with food and beverage consumption.
Yeah, and just like, in everything. I mean, I'm sure I'll have a cannoli and a piece of cake again in my lifetime and a
Yeah.
cup of coffee and even a Coke or a soda
Hey,
or
it's Friday. It's
but
Friday.
I am being mindful to do things in moderation and try to stay towards, clean, fresh water and organic foods and fruits and vegetables. And I've made a commitment and decision myself to wipe those things out, for the entirety of this year and then go towards a maintenance lifestyle. And I think once you're at a point where your blood pressure is good and your doctor is loving your stats and you're at your ideal weight and you're staying active and exercising, then you just kind of transition into a maintenance lifestyle, right? Where, 80 to 90% of the time you do all of those wonderful things. And then you allow some of those other things in based on what's important to you, right? Soda in general just has never been important to me. So that's never been anything I've ever needed. But man, do I like cake. So, you know,
And
so
I like chocolate cake.
and I like ice cream. But there's also some really great frozen yogurts and other versions. And, that's interesting. One of the things I've also done, my husband thinks, he says to me, he said yesterday, why do you torture yourself? Because I love to watch the British Bake Off show and the competition. I love that show. It's so awesome, And, of course, people, it's difficult to say what actually causes cancer for anyone particular person unless there's lots of medical backgrounding and things like that. But I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping cake has never harmed anyone, in moderation. I guess if you ate a couple of cakes every single day in their entirety, it's gonna some health problems, I'm guessing, gonna pop up. But I told him that it doesn't bother me to watch them, even though I'm on this health journey right now with very strict diet. Or food focus. I don't like to call it diet because the word die in there, it just bothers me. But anyway, with a very strict food focus I have at the moment, it doesn't bother me to watch it because in my mind, I'm actually altering the recipes, thinking about almond flours and, coconut flours and, monk fruit, which is not like an artificial sweetener, but it's made from a fruit, or where honey could be replaced, or where, just I'm thinking about, how, foods and things could be, sometimes instead of butter, you can use avocado. And so I'm rebuilding the recipes in my mind for my future lifestyle change, so that they're for things that I might want to incorporate in later. So to me, it's fascinating. Plus, I've always been a baker and make lasagna and cook for my family. I'm this the Italian background. The food is a big part of our lives, and so I enjoy watching the techniques and the different things they use, and just figuring out in my mind, how could that be a healthier recipe, so it's sort of a game for me in my mind.
You know what? You said something key there that I want to touch upon real quick about the word diet. We
Yeah.
know the Atkins diets out there, the Mediterranean, the paleo,
Keto.
choose
5 million,
keto.
5 million plans. Let's call them
Exactly.
plans instead that you could follow. Yeah, sure.
You have to choose what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we both know we can agree, and the audience can agree about one key thing, which is moderation. When I
Mm-hmm.
talk about diet, I'm really referring to what's specific for you in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what you like and what you want to consume, and crowd out the things on your plate that don't belong, or
Well,
reduce those things.
and that goes back to seeing a doctor, seeing a professional nutrition, seeing, because one of the things I'm also currently researching is, finding out what you're really allergic to. Most people go their
Yes,
whole life and don't know they're allergic to lagoons or different kinds of foods, that no wonder you're having this problem or this challenge because you eat this food because you like it, but then it gives you this problem. So foods, you could have foods allergies that you're not even aware of because they're not severe enough to make you lose your breath or close your throat, but they're still causing your body problems because it's not in sync with you, right? Not every food is in sync with every human. And then the other fascinating thing, I've just started to do some research on, and I haven't been able to confirm or deny if there's enough weight and truth in it, because we all, like you said, we have to look at what the different plans are that are out there, find out what kind of fits with us. But I've been looking into there's some, in theory, I don't know if this, I don't like to say anything in truth or not, but blood types, supposedly there may be some give to that, of what foods or what plans might be better for certain blood types or not. And I'm not sure I know that to be true or false. Like I said, I just keep, I think just that's the fact, is keep searching, keep researching, keep learning, keep questioning, keep testing, keep working with high level experts to figure out what is true for you. So
that's true. Yeah, that's correct. That's
mhm.
correct. I think your body genetic makeup is 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 unique.
Mhm.
Is unique, and you have to you have to get a blood test. You have to
Mhm.
understand what you're allergic to.
Mhm.
As we get older, we kind of know when we're younger, right? And you like, oh my God, the EpiPen, where is it at, or something. But uh, I found that out with my son who was allergic to seafood, and we're like, okay, and nuts. We did a scratch test. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that was years ago. Now, as his body is changing, we need to see other things that he might be allergic to in terms of what he's consuming. Because, we all know that, when we were younger, it was all about pizza and fries and hamburgers, and that's
Nuggets.
what he's doing. That's what they're doing now, right? So it's just a matter of really reducing that and opening up his palate or, kids' palate to be exposed to certain things that, could be good for you,
Well,
so.
it is a good point that our body changes because, like my sister, for example, ate seafood like crazy. We live, near, the Chesapeake Bay and the Patuxent River, and shellfish is huge. Shrimp and all different crab meat and things like that. And she ate it her whole lifetime, and then in her mid 20s. At a restaurant, suddenly had an attack, and from here on out, can't eat shellfish for the rest of her life, but never was allergic to it before. And so to that point, we just always have to be paying attention, listening to our bodies, checking in, and getting that professional expert care. And something to be said for our checkups, and checking in. How has our body changed as we go through different stages of our lives, and our hormones change and the chemicals inside us change? How is that affecting us overall? So really, really great advice. Do you before I'm going to get a final thought from you at the very end, but before I chat a little more with our audience really quickly, is there anything else you felt like you haven't covered or that we didn't touch on?
Um, I really want people to connect with me at
Mhm.
jeffcade360.com. It's my first name, JEFFCADE 360, jeffcade360.com. Because
Mhm.
you can connect with me via social media, but more importantly, if you don't really get into social media, don't use that as a platform yourself, you can send me a direct text or email. You
Mhm.
can set up a calendar call with me. I call it a health discovery call where we can
Mhm.
really understand your goals, or I can provide some for you. And we could work on one-on-one basis and understand the programming and the things that I'm able to help you transform any unhealthy choices into an active and vibrant lifestyle. So that's really it. From my point, I'm glad that I was able to touch upon, um, you know, the ultimate health and happiness program that I do have. My book. It is it's and the books that I've actually been able to share with the audience and help them. Some of the audience may have even read these books, but it's just good to know what we're reading, what we're digesting, what we're feeding our minds with.
Mhm.
Very important, and I'm appreciative of you that we were able to have this great conversation and discussion on health and wellness and how it's paramount, not just to you and me, but to our families and our families' families. It's very important. So that's really my final tip. It's been an amazing time. I really appreciate you in this platform.
Well, you're going to give us another tip. You just don't know it yet. But I want to say I've enjoyed this interview, and I hope you've enjoyed being on the show as much as I've enjoyed having you. I've enjoyed you guys out there watching. We're grateful you hung in there with us for a long one. You know what, me, I roll with the flow. Whatever the universe says, this is how long the show is going to be. So this is the journey we've wound upon together. Now, if you're watching, and I know you are, and thank you for that, always hit the share button, but always think, am I an industry expert? Can I help someone's personal life? Can I help them grow their business? Do I know someone who's an industry expert or that can help someone improve someone's personal life or grow their business? Well, you should either be on our show and or share with those experts, be their hero and ours, introducing the show. Our team will get you on so that we can feature you and that you can make a bigger impact in the world and reach more lives and touch more lives. And you know how they do it, how you reach more? Yes, indeed, it is hitting that share button. Now, I'm not going to let them get away, and we're going to squeeze out one more final piece of information or inspiration from our amazing guest, Jeff. So what do you got for us as we close out the show?
As we close out, I have to give my friend Christoph Wyman some some credibility here because he came up with this one, just like I developed the acronym WIN, what's important now. I'm going to tie it back to what you said earlier. WTF. WTF. What's the feeling? What's the feeling? Meaning, how are we feeling inside our minds and our bodies? What are we attuned with? What are we aligned with? How are you going to be in? How are you going to use what's the feeling each and every day so we can listen to our bodies? We can to listen to what's going on. And sometimes that is meditating. Sometimes that's closing your eyes like I'm doing now and just being quiet. And just being quiet and understand that your creator's giving you grace and space, right? To do your duty that is best and leaving to the world the rest. So that's key. What the feeling? WTF. What's the feeling?
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you for being with us today, Jeff. Thank you for watching, everyone. As always, you know who I am. I am Jessica Koch. I have been your host of yet another Profound Professionals, this interview series that is becoming to you globally for 7 years with amazing guests from all over the world. I'm going to close our show as I always do, everyone. Remember, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Thank you, and bye, everybody.
Take care.